Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cruel Justice. And I think this week we got something that is really cruel justice. I'm your host, Herman Lindsey. I'm Florida's 23rd Death Row Exoneree. I'm a Secretary of Board of Witness to Innocent. Also, Ambassador for Represent Justice, and I'm also on the very case campaign, Julius Jones campaign, which we're going to talk about today. Today I have a guest here, which is Julius Jones' sister, Antoinette Jones. I missed last week because I was actually in Oklahoma doing a press concerning the case. So, Antoinette, tell us a little bit of update. You know, you've been on the show. A lot of people know about the case. You can brief people with the case, and tell us a little update of the status of what's going on.
So, our attorney, Oklahoma's current attorney general, John O'Connor, he requested execution dates for 7 individuals, and one of those individuals was my brother Julius. So there were some complications with the dates that were set. So he's having to re-ask for execution dates. So Julius's commutation application that was put before the Pardon and Parole Board is in its second stage. So the commutation hearing will be September the 13th, which is Monday, and it'll be at 9:00. So that will still go through because there was an emergency hearing to see whether Julius's requested execution date would have been confirmed or denied last Tuesday. And so the present update is that Julius's commutation hearing will go forth on 9/13 unless something else comes up. So there's still a chance that things can get canceled. But we're speaking that 9/13 is going to happen, and that we will get the votes that we need, and that we will then seek leniency from the governor as well. So, and there's no set time that the governor has to reply to said voting, whatever the voting is. If it's voted in Julius's favor, there's no set time that the governor has to make his decision yet. So,
you know, I've been following since I've been home since 2009. You know, I've been involved with a lot of cases, and one of the things I'm praying is that this don't turn out like a Troy Davis case. You know, and they was clearly wrong in Georgia, but because of politician power, they took an innocent man's life. And you know, it's amazing how some people actually supports this, and it's crazy. But I wanted to know how has it been for your brother? I mean, you've communicated with him. You know, how has he been holding up on such a harsh, painful moment?
Well, I will be honest and say he's had an emotional. Apologies. So I will say that it's been a very up and downhill for him, but the fact that he now has the support that he didn't have in the past 20 years. So the fact that after the last defense documentary, the 3-part documentary of his case, since that being put out to the public, he's had a huge support system. He's gotten to have a voice without even being given the due process to speak on his own behalf. So God has just truly been blessing with his support group, the mail he receives. That's very uplifting to him. So the support and the advocacy is very uplifting to him. It keeps him positive, you know, on those down times when he doesn't have anybody to talk to, or there's no visitation. But he's been remarkably calm. I think it's because of his support system and then his lawyers and how they continuously go visit him. So he's been.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
fine. Go. I'll say he's been calm. He said God has truly been working, and I'm truly inspired by his walk and how he responds, because I know sometimes my attitude is not where it's supposed to be. But
Sorry about that. Uh, the thing that concerned me now is that, you know, the political game that I see in this case is, first of all, the hearing. The hearing is set 22 days before execution date, which me personally, I don't believe that date is actually going to come to pass. You know, I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, it's an issue that should have, I mean, was well overdue for this hearing years and years ago. And now they just put the hearing 22 days before execution date. I don't know if that's an intimidation move or what it does, but I think that uh, this shows a poor process in our justice system in Oklahoma. You know, as other states, you know, he might have had a another hearing. Some states takes, like, for instance, believe it or not, Florida and California, they really do take interest in the cases and actually try to do all they can do before an execution date would be like the last resort of exhaustion of things. But I think that this prosecutor, what is his name, David Parter, how you
Prater,
pronounce it? Prater.
David Prater.
Yeah, you know, I don't understand how a person like him can rest at night and he's thinking he's actually getting justice when he's not even sure himself. You know, he's just people. They on the prosecutor side, and they uh, just crazy. So I just wanted to ask you, and this could be like a very painful question, because I know when I was on death row, I've had a couple of people that was received execution dates, and it's like I felt like they're paying because they became family in there with me, and for your brother to have a execution date and knowing that he's innocent, I know it has to be taking a toll on you and your family about the fear of this date.
Yeah, so my mind is like, it's still a request because it hasn't been approved by the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals. So my mindset is that we're going to continue to fight, continue to speak the truth. What I will say is that David Prater, DA David Prater, is truly proven that you must have experienced counsel, with capital murders. You're supposed to have experience law counsel. Excuse me, I need to slow down. But you must have a proper defense in order to not be on a death row. I think one of our past Supreme Court judges had even said that most people only get on death row because they don't have experienced counsel. They don't have a good defense. So my brother started off with a good defense, but he passed Mr. Albert Berry, and so after that we got a public defender that was inexperienced, and then he didn't have enough resources to even get an actual detective, just numerous things like that. But what I will never forget is the public defender standing up at the end and saying, "We rest." Like, that was just like those words just like broke something in me, and I was like, "What?" But what I will say is that DA Prater is proven that you must have a proper defense, and we're all, as American citizens, supposed to have a proper defense. We're supposed to enjoy a proper defense.
Yeah, in Florida, we call it effective counseling. Then that's when they don't do that, it's ineffective assisted counsel, um, which the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on numerous cases like that. And even the thinnest of not having a good representation is a violation of the constitutions.
Correct.
So that I could properly understand. Now I'm gonna comment on something that I see today, and I'm not gonna ask you to comment on. And this is just my view. You know, I never knew about until I seen on the news today how the Howe family and the district attorney has gotten together and doing a campaign rallying against Julius Jones campaign. And you know, over the years, I've been involved with many cases like Susan Bosler, who's out of Miami. Her father was a preacher and he got stabbed up to death, and they was trying to get him the death penalty. Then another couple of cases out of Jacksonville, Florida, where the lady daughter got killed in Metro, and she was saying she don't want him to be on death row. And then we had, may she rest in peace, George Edith, that just passed away here in Florida. One of the things I see is in those cases that I see is coming with his campaign is that the district court's attorneys, the state attorneys actually manipulates the family to believe that the death penalty is justice. And when they don't want to go with it, for instance, in Darlene case here in Jacksonville, uh, uh, the state attorney went to threatening her, and you know, places the articles in the news about her and trying to destroy her life because she wouldn't side with the state attorney to push for the death penalty. She kept fighting for life in prison for her daughter killer. Also in Susan Bosley case, and like I say, you Google it, you'll see a lot of cases where the victim family, when they don't want the death penalty, they actually receive threats from the state attorney on behalf, you know. So my thing is when they say we doing justice for the family, and the family feel like justice isn't the death penalty, but rather life in prison, but the state attorneys are threatening them to persuade them to push for the death penalty. And you know, it's like it's a proven fact that the death penalty is not justice. It's and the state attorney moves to seek the death penalty is not for justice, it's for revenge. But for the state attorney, it's not only getting revenge, but the more cases they get like this here and the more successful convictions they get and stuff, whether the conviction comes back or whether it's right or wrong, excuse me, they it's like it helps them in the next phase of their office, you know, for when they want to run for another office or get promoted for a higher position. And I just wanted to let the viewers know that, you know, I the family may believe in the death penalty and things like that, but to side and put a campaign together to go against Julius when there's so much questionable evidence in it, and try to manipulate the public to say, okay, what we doing is the right thing. I think that is really ridiculous, really ridiculous. And I just want to say, you know, Oklahoma had a case with for someone I know, Paris Powell. He's a death row exoneree up there, and they acted so crazy with him till they basically tell him to get out of Oklahoma, don't come back. You know, I remember back in the older days where uh, my uncle was in Carolina, and I understand he was dealing with drugs and things like that. But when they called him, they told him to get out of his state and don't ever come back. But in a case where a man is innocent and you turn around and tell him, don't come back, what kind of state is Oklahoma and the citizens of Oklahoma allow Oklahoma to be? Are they being scared to be in a shell? And you may not understand what I'm about to say, Antoinette, but I think that your brother case is a case. Your brother case is a bad thing, but the good thing about your brother case, it has awakened so many people in Oklahoma and throughout the world to understand how flawed this justice system is. Very flawed justice system. So with that being said, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel the awareness of your case, your brother case, have affected some of those in Oklahoma? Has it pushed them to wake up to say, okay, when I get ready to vote, I'm gonna vote for the right people, or I'm not gonna vote, or they understanding that their votes now are very important to help reform this justice system?
So his case brings about great dialogue of the importance of voting, and also like knowing who you're voting for. Don't just vote a straight ticket. Redo your research, understand, these candidates that are running, understand that we need people to run that mirror our community. And that's very important. I know a lot of people feel like your vote doesn't matter, but your vote and your voice matters. Our ancestors have taught us that. And it's very important, especially with Julius's cases, because we have different judges sitting on these boards. Sitting as judges, and we're wondering why do these cases keep getting swept away. There's a reason why we keep the same judges in and we don't vote them out. For those that are not helping our community, there's the problem. We're not voting for our community. We're not making a voice for our community. We're not showing up to different meetings that they're having. We're not sitting at the tables that should be representing all of our community. And we need to be in those different spaces. We need to be in those different meetings. So his case brings about a lot of issues with voting in our own states, our legislators voting, knowing about the people that are our leaders. And so, man, I think it brings about a great conversation that a lot of people have not been talking about over the years. And those that are my age and a little older, we're starting to truly realize that our voice and our vote does matter, and that we need to stand up like our parents did. Sorry.
I know both of us having so much distraction right now, but it. That's what that's what we try to do here at Witness Innocent. We try to bring awareness in the communities. And one of the most important things is voting on who, not who we just want to be in there, but who's going to do the right thing in there. Who's going to help our juveniles? Who's going to help our innocent people? Who's going to say, no, this sentence is too harsh? Someone that's going to help the community build as a rehabilitation, instead of someone that said, hey, I want to be lock them up, throw away the key, Joe. And one of the things about it is that these campaigns do that very, very important thing, and gathering people around. And I mean, again, the Julius Jones case has brought millions. I mean, here it is. You come out with it. And I got to ask you, when you started that petition for your brother, did you think that you would end up with over 6 million signatures?
So let me just not take the credit for that. Let me just say that a phenomenal lady by the name of CC Jones Davis started that petition. we did not know if we would get even 100K. Matter of fact, we didn't know if we'd get 50K. And so when we got over 100, I think it was 120, I was like, wow, people are really truly taking in consideration the facts that happened on the last defense. And then it blossomed. People were like, well, I'm doing my own research, and like at first it starts like it seems like it's all one-sided, but now with the last defense where it's showing all sides, and there was no bias in the 3-part documentary, and I was perfectly fine with it because it told the truth, and just to know that that change.org picture of Julius, that was the mugshot of Julius 9 days before the murder that happened to Mr. Paul Scott Howe. Like if the jury had seen that mugshot, I don't think they would have voted the same way. I don't think they would. I don't. Like just certain things like that. Like, man, we didn't even know there was a mugshot to have. And because of Amanda Bass and Dale Bache that are currently Julius's lawyers, because of them finding that information, them locking in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, like, I wish we'd have had them early on. But what I do want to say is that we need to hold our legislator, our senates accountable for what they're doing. We need to hold them accountable. Accountability is what we need to all, as American citizens, hold our district leaders, our Senate leaders. We need to hold everybody accountable that's in these positions that are representing our communities and our states.
And the thing about that, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because most people don't even understand the power that their representative in their area have. Most of the people don't even get involved or think they can even go talk to their representative, which their representative have a local office in that community somewhere in their area. And if you find the representative in your area, you have to remember something. Y'all, you vote that representative in. So it's like that representative work for the people. And if a boss, if you're the person that hired this person to do what right in the community, and you go to that person's office and they say no, they can't see you, that means, and they keep blocking you out, that means the employee is not the right employee for you, because it's your votes count, your voice count, and to go over and speak to them, you should have that privilege. And these people is the same people that create the laws that stands up, that the very courts have to stand up on, and they make the changes. Like, representatives can step in right now and do a bill and say, hold on, we will overtake this from the governor. He's not doing the right thing. We recommend that the high court up there review it. They could just do a bill to get this reviewed. But because it's so divided in there, when you think the Senate and the House is divided, but you also got the division in the Senate and the division in the House. You have the Republicans and you got Democrats in both sides, but then you got some that has actually changed their title from Republican to Democrat to win, but they still Republicans doing Republican actions in the office. And no one's paying attention to it. Nobody's paying attention that they're actually changing the sides just to get voted. So now the Democrats got majority of the seats. The Democrats got majority of the seats, but it's always winning on the Republican way. Because why? Because Republicans got smart. They had some of them changed over to Democrat, getting those seats, because most everyone want to get Democrats, and then turn around and make laws to vote in the Republican way. That's how they tilt it. This type of game goes on in our capitals. And people need to get involved in that. And unless we stand together, we're not going to change it. Unless we educate each other about it, we're not going to change it. It's going to continue to go on and go on. And then you got those people that's just sitting around that has influence over legislators or, police departments or things like that, that sit back doing nothing. But the minute, it changes on them and they become the spotlights, then they want to get involved and they see how corrupt things is and that things are turned their way, they hoping they save them, but they feel like their system is doing it wrong. And that is the craziest part. It's about time for me to end the show. But before I end the show, is there anything that you would like to share before we go?
So I would say continue to, first of all, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for the continuous support that you have given my brother and my family and the coalition and the campaign. But I want to say continue to call in to our partner parole board offices. Continue to call in to the governor's office. I understand that sometimes you might not get through, or sometimes there might be some unprofessionalism, but I want to say at the end of the day, it's all documented. Every little bit that you're doing counts, because like you said at the beginning of the petition, it was very small. And look, we have almost 7 million, but we have 6 million plus supporters that agree and sign a petition that my brother should have a commutation hearing. So I want to say that every little bit that you're doing, whether it's sharing, putting a comment, using a hashtag, it's working. It's working. And God is connecting us all for a reason. Thank you, Mr. Herman, for letting me be on this show. Thank you all to Witness to Innocence. I appreciate y'all leaning in, standing with us, supporting us, the kind words, the wisdom. It's not over. The fight is not over. It's just the beginning. And also, I apologize. Also, visit justiceforjuliusjones.com. Take action, lean in, continue to send in emails, continue to share the petition, continue to speak about Julius Darius Jones until he is free. Justice for Julius.
And I really want to just end the show just like that, what you said, that I got to add on to it a little bit because that was a powerful ending. But I want to say to this for people before I go, yes, as she say, every time I speak, people wonder what they can do about this. Well, you can go up on the website, such as juliusjones.com, witnessinnocent.org, and you can actually get the information and find how you can support. Some people cannot support financially, so they volunteer. Some people cannot volunteer or do financial, so they send a support letter. As she said, all of this count. So if you would, even if you just share this video, and it's more people can see and more people can learn, and it's amazing channel and network that we have. And if you just take the time out to actually initiate a click of a button, you can find out some great information and especially become one of the supporters. Who knows, adding your oneself as a support may make a difference to making a change in decisions that whether hearing or whether anything, it can make a change. So with that being said, from Witness to Innocent, Julius Jones campaign, I want to thank everybody for joining, and I'd like to say so long.